Okay, so Padraig, we know you for a long time. I remember you for the first time, I think 2001 in Quinta do Lago. You just showed up and suddenly you were second place in the tournament. Everybody was looking for Colin Montgomery and you were playing great. Do you still remember that tournament?
I don't, but I've been coming here a lot longer than that. I started coming down here in I think 1990. I would have started out with Penina, Troia, a few of those great courses. We used to come down in training week as amateurs. So I've probably been playing the Portuguese Masters right since I turned pro, 96, 97. And some great golf courses, always great golf courses in Portugal. I don't know if the people of Portugal know that you have great land for building golf courses, and the courses we play on are really top class when you compare them around the world. That's why I know you've got a lot of tourists coming down, but I always tell them the golf courses are as good as can be down here when it comes to the standard. So it's always a place to come and play, practice, and obviously when we have a competition like this, it's good for us as well. The weather is excellent. There's really no downside to coming down to Portugal to play golf.
Talking about golf courses, what about this one? The greenkeepers are telling me this is the best the course has ever been. Have you seen the course growing?
Yeah, it's definitely the best we've seen. It's a month later this year, so a little cooler temperatures, but the golf course is firmer. It's a lot faster playing. Not a lot of rough, but the rough that's there is tricky. It gives flyers and things like that. So it's Bermuda rough, so it's very difficult to control the ball out of the rough. It's not that you can't hit it out of it; it's controlling it goes too far, to be honest. So yeah, it's an interesting week. It's a different challenge this year than it has been in past years.
When we remember you since the first time you came to Portugal to play the Portuguese Open, not the amateur ones, but as a professional, in the press conferences you were always very analytical. It's one of your characteristics. Yeah. And at that time, in the beginning of the 2000s, were you imagining you would be one of the greatest of your generation? Because you were really analytical, you were studying the golf since very early.
And I was very much in the moment. That was probably the biggest. I don't know, the thing I had, the biggest thing about me was I played golf very much in the moment, so I did my thing and didn't worry about everybody else. I might have studied my own game in relation to other people, but I wasn't somebody that I didn't limit myself with my opinion of where I could get, so I wasn't sort of saying, well, I should do this well, or be a top 10 player or anything like that. I just played, tried to improve my game as best I could, and really didn't have any limits on my game, and that's probably why I went on to win the majors and be as high as I was in the world, and win as much as I did. Was because I really didn't put limits on myself. I think a lot of you basically achieve what you deep down believe, and the only way to go against it is not really to overthink that and just play.
Is it easy for you to look back and tell us what are the biggest moments you feel about your career, being top 10, the majors, Ryder Cup, what?
There's many milestones in my career, many milestones. Just making the cut, the first tournament I played in, winning after 10 weeks was very big. Following that up, I won the World Cup with Paul McGinley in '97. Making the Ryder Cup team in '99. Winning again in 2001. Sort of kick-started a lot of wins. Obviously winning my first major in 2007, following up with two more in 2008. There's a lot of milestones. Every win is important. But yeah, I've had a nice career that's progressed, and I've had enough good wins to keep me moving along.
And then we saw that when you won here 3 years ago, it looked like it was special for you.
Yeah, well, I hadn't won a while in Europe, and I'd won a few tournaments around the world, but not on the European tour. So yeah, it was nice to come back and win here. Winning is always good, and the longer you leave it, the better it is. Yeah, you can't beat winning, even no matter where it is, any time. We're all about trying to win, and they don't happen as often as you would like them to.
And at this stage, do you still think, yeah, I can go back and win again, and Tiger Woods was saying 2 years ago, I would rather play the Ryder Cup as a player than as a vice captain. So do you think about that? That I can still play really well and go back.
I wouldn't be here if I didn't think I could win.
It's good enough.
Yeah.
It's good enough for me. But now talking about the captaincy, that analytical question I asked you before that helps for a captain, right?
Yeah, look, my job as captain is a lot to do with continuity. The previous captains have pretty much trial and error a lot of scenarios anywhere. So my job is to take the good from what's happened, and I've been vice captain 3 times, played 6 times, and try and bring as many of the good things together as I can, and avoid some of the bad things. And that's all my job is. I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm not trying to do anything new. Won't even be putting my own spark on it or whatever you want to say. I just will try and recreate what we've done before, the best of what we've done before.
Talking about that continuity, do you speak a lot with the former captains? What you learned from them?
Yeah, I do speak to them. I'm friendly with all as I said, I was vice captain 3 times. I took notes every time I was at them, so I have quite a good idea what was going on at the time. Yeah, I will talk to them in casual conversation of what they thought, but as I said, I was involved myself, and I made sure I took my notes when I was there, so I have a fair idea what was happening.
Still, although there are the rankings, you still have the captain picks. And as you remember, for instance, last year Sergio was here talking to us, saying that the captain was a kind of ball to give him a pick, because a lot of people thought he shouldn't get one. And so sometimes you need to have courage, right? I mean, are you ready for that?
Yeah, look, I was very much involved in that picking process with Thomas last time, and to us it was obvious that Sergio could get picked. So, when you've got all the information behind the scenes, it's a lot easier to make a decision, and you can't worry about people second guessing it, and to be honest, if you listen to the pundits before you make those picks, there was 4 picks last time. I think the pundits have picked about 8 people. There's just not room for 8 people, so you do have to make a few hard choices, but those choices, when you sit down and you look at the 9 players, for me, I have 9 players who will qualify. People don't sometimes misunderstand. The 3 picks are to complement the 9 players. They're not to pick the 10th, 11th and 12th best player in Europe. It's nothing to do with that. It's to pick 3 people that are going to help the 9 who qualified. That's essentially what you're doing with your picks, because if you wanted to have the 12 best people, well, you'd have no picks. You'd just go down the order of merit. So the 3 picks are there to add something in terms of, like, if you had 9 rookies, you'd obviously pick 3 experienced players. If you had 9 experienced players, you'd pick 3 rookies to add a bit of excitement for the older guys.
Yeah. Just 2 more questions. One is, do you feel the weight of Europe winning mostly lately than losing?
I agree with that. Yeah, I do think there's added pressure. We've been very successful, and there's expectations. Even though we're playing away and it's difficult to win away, there's more expectations on Europe to win, and that does bring a lot of pressure. Yes.
And the last question is about Portuguese golf. I remember some years ago we put Ricardo Gouveia playing here with Thomas Bjorn, so he could know the Portuguese player. Do you know any Portuguese player? Do you have any idea of how they play? Of course, they will not play in the Ryder Cup, but we have the dream that one day we'll have a Portuguese guy there.
Yeah, over the years, you've had plenty of guys, and I've followed them. As I said, my coach was Howard Bennett, and Stephen Bennett has been the Portuguese coach, obviously, so I have followed it and seen it. And you've got guys who've got to the fringe of, been on tour, been there, but they don't believe. And that's a culture that it comes from. They haven't seen it before them. It's a very strange thing. Like, we've won majors in Ireland now. We've won 10 over the last 10 years. I started winning majors, and it made it easier for people behind me to go, well, hey, if you're Irish, you can win a major. And you need that in Portugal. You need somebody to break through, start winning on tour, become a top-class player on tour, and then the amateurs coming through will go, hey, my amateur record was as good as his. He's out there winning on tour, and then their expectations go up. So it's purely expectations. It's not a physical thing. It's not that they don't swing the club well enough. It's not that they're not trying hard enough. It's just there's a deep down they have to believe, and it's chicken and egg. you need the performance to believe. It's a very difficult one. But what will happen is you'll have one who breaks the mould. Somebody will come out and perform and break that mould and start, winning regularly, be a one of the top 5 players, top 10 players in Europe. And if that happens, then the guys behind them will go, hey, yeah, it's possible.
Okay, thanks. It was very kind of you.
No problem.
Thank you. Thank you.